Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from Apprehensive You 913 and says, am I the arsehole if I uninvite my sister-in-law who's in love with my husband? And before we do get into this story, I do want to give you a warning that it does contain talk of high-risk pregnancy and miscarriage as well. So if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Please always look after yourself. Very important. And let's crack on with it. Am I the arsehole if I uninvite my 32 female sister-in-law 30 female? I call her Tina from my baby shower because I think she's in love with my husband. My husband, 33 male, and I met each other at a ski lodge 9 years ago. I was with my young daughter and a female friend and her child. My husband was with his 2 brothers and 3 sisters and a few friends. There was a singing competition and both of us were set up by our friends to enter it. Sparks flew during our duet and the rest is history. Back to our first meeting. This was the first time I caught on to my sister-in-law's disturbing behavior. After the singing competition, he and I went to a cafe to chat. His middle sister, Tina, who was adopted at birth, came storming up to us and demanded he come back to their group. She never looked at me and whined when he shut her down. She ran off crying and apparently took her sister's room's keycards and locked them out, so they had to stay with the friends in their room. Fast forward to when we bought a house together. We had a housewarming and invited family and close friends. They showed up in a sexy club outfit. She ignored me the entire time and hung all over my husband, boyfriend at the time. She kept recalling tales of them when they were little and how close they were. She'd kiss him on the cheek, hug him, and touched his arm when laughing. He was visibly uncomfortable, so I stepped in. At first, I just thought she had a crush on him, but the way she was acting looked like she was the girlfriend and not me. She was going around reminding and telling everyone that he used to say he never wanted to have kids, but now he's playing daddy to my daughter. One of my friends said that she thought Tina was weird for talking about how hot his modeling photos were when he did print work back in college, and that her favorite photo was of them at a beach in Hawaii during a family vacation a few years back. The most bizarre thing she told a few people was that he'd never dated a woman of color before, and now all of a sudden he's in love. It's only bizarre to me because she's biracial, so I don't know why this would bother her. Unless she's jealous of me because she wished she were me. And things go south at the end of the night when he gets down on one knee and proposes to me. She started crying and ran to the restroom. Her dad went to check on her and then drove her home. I knew exactly why she was upset, but my husband always equated her behavior to jealousy because she never had healthy relationships. After that tantrum, she skipped our wedding, baby shower, our children's birthday parties, and other family events that we attended. I was fine with extending invitations because I knew she wasn't going to show up. She had some sort of mental breakdown and was in and out of treatment for years. Now I have to say, I wish nothing but the best for her, and I don't know what kind of issue she's going through, but I don't want her disrupting our peace. I'm currently pregnant and our baby shower is at the end of this month. I'm having it a few months early because I'm at risk for going into labor early, like I did with my other 2 children. My mother-in-law called to RSVP and stated Tina would be riding with them and if it was okay if she brought her new boyfriend. I was surprised because we hadn't seen her in years, but was apprehensive to agree. Eventually, I did agree and hoped that she had resolved whatever caused her so much distress when she was around my family. Well, it took all of 24 hours for her to start nonsense. She texted my husband paragraphs at 3 AM telling him how she felt about our family. First, she went on to say how much she missed them being close and how I came in and destroyed their close relationship. When I barely said 50 words to her in 9 years, she asked him if he was happy with his life because again, he used to say he never wanted kids or to get married. She then asked if he thought about her in all this time and if he could meet up with him before the shower and talk alone, face to face. That was the last straw for me. I asked my husband if he knew she was in love with him and he just shrugged and said he didn't doubt my theory. Apparently when she was 11, she asked if they could cuddle and kiss and he said no. He admits her behavior since then has always been weird and dramatic, but he didn't pay her much attention because there were many siblings and they all hung out all the time. I asked him if he could uninvite her and this new boyfriend because I think she's going to be drama to our baby shower. He said he wants to talk to his parents first to see what kind of state she's been in. But I know in my gut that she's ready to ruin our day with her theatrics. But am I the arsehole for wanting to uninvite her to the baby shower? Edit, for those of you wondering if anything intimate ever happened between them, the answer is no. I am 100% certain of this. He has a total of 3 adopted siblings, 2 female and 1 male. He says he sees them as blood-related siblings because the 3 of them were adopted at birth. He's the second youngest and they're all within 1 to 4 years of each other. So all he knows them as is siblings. He said he chooses to ignore her because she's always been dramatic. He always worried about her physical safety because she's suffered from depression for as long as he can remember, so he tries to handle things gently. He's not opposed to uninviting her, but he does want to know what his parents think about her mental state and whether she can behave. Second edit, so I keep seeing something about High School Musical. I'm a little too old to watch that show and movie, but didn't know about that plot. I changed some details of how we met so this post wouldn't be immediately recognizable. But is very much, unfortunately, my life right now. My husband is on his way home right now, despite having another 3 hours left at work, because his phone kept blowing up. He didn't sound good on the phone, but he wouldn't tell me what was wrong. I don't want to call his mum and other sister to ask what's going on, but I'll try to post an update when hopefully we come to a final solution because I'm stressed and over this. Now, obviously this is not the arsehole at all, because why would you want someone there who you can pretty much guarantee is going to cause some sort of drama at your event? Now, I'm not saying that I don't feel bad for this person because they clearly need some further help in whatever's going on, because this is really obsessive behavior and they need to seek some help. But this is also your event and you don't have to invite that kind of trouble to your event as well. And obviously I don't know the full ins and outs of the story, but I think your husband really needs to put his foot down in some way here, because shrugging your shoulders isn't helping the situation. It certainly isn't helping her in any way. But Summer Oracle says, not the arsehole, your husband needs to shut this down now. Her behavior is obsessive. In fact, this not only still going on after years, but even escalating is dangerous as well as unhealthy. Given you are the target for her delusions, that puts you and your children at potential risk. Everyone involved needs to get their heads out of the sand and take this seriously. He needs to make it perfectly clear that he's not interested in a romantic relationship with her, that her behavior needs to stop, and decide on the consequences if she continues. If he refuses to do this, you don't have a sister-in-law problem, you have a husband problem. She needs a better therapist or treatment plan, as whatever she's used so far seems to have not been effective. For the time being, it may be in your best interest to set boundaries about her not being allowed around you and your kids. Zookeeper replies to that and says this 100%. I don't think there's any way to overreact to what potential threat she could be to you or your family. If you have a gut feeling that something is wrong, you should always follow it. It sounds like the family is burying their heads in the sand because they don't want to deal with the fact that she's obsessed with her brother in such an unhealthy way. Not that obsession is ever healthy. Being gentle with her because of her mental health isn't going to help her get better. It just allows the behavior to continue. The fact that she keeps dismissing your children with, he never wanted kids, would also be very concerning to me. Please follow your instincts and don't worry about family harmony. Worry about your family's safety. Nothing in now says in quotes, you don't have a sister-in-law problem, you have a husband problem. And then says, oh yeah, him avoiding the issue isn't helping his sister either. He needs to tell her in no uncertain terms that's never going to happen, and that she's weirding him out and that's it. Never, no way, absolutely not. Maybe that'll give her the shock or reality check that she needs to actually put this in the past. I know people can be conflict avoidant, but he's making everyone else deal with his shit and it's not fair and detrimental to them. Knight says not the arsehole, and considering she spent nearly a decade avoiding you and your husband because of her hang-ups, I would be suspicious she was planning to have her boyfriend propose to her at your baby shower. Opie says my husband joked about her showing up with her own announcement, and we have a bet that she'll lie and say she's also pregnant. Honestly, nothing would surprise me with her. Love Snake says you're not the arsehole, Tina and your husband is. She's constantly disrespecting you in your marriage while your husband just lets her. Yes, Tina has mental health issues, but this is not a free pass to mistreat others. Her state of mind honestly doesn't matter here. She should not come, and your husband needs to set real boundaries and wake up. Jane36 says not the arsehole for wanting to uninvite her, but you may cause more drama and be made out as the arsehole for actually doing it. I would leave it alone. Let your husband talk with his parents and all of you together come to an agreement of how to deal with her and put her in her place should she act up. If she's just too much, make sure you and your husband are on the same page in asking her to leave, and be sure he is the one to tell her to leave. If you interject, it'll just be worse. Enjoy your shower and pay her no mind. Be cordial when necessary. I'm sure other people see what she's about and know you to be a good wife and mother. Best wishes to you and your family. Safe Juggernaut says not the arsehole, but let her show up. I know, sounds like a terrible idea, and it is. But it also isn't. She definitely started crazy shit that when you call the Grippy Sock Palace and they cart her ass away for a good while. Because if this continues, she could pose a threat to your children. She keeps mentioning that your husband never wanted kids and she's obsessed enough to go too far already. Furthermore, adopted or not, they were raised together and therefore this is incest. Incestuous ideology and behavior is a mental health issue and a big one at that. With that in mind, let her come. Let the darkness flow through you so all can behold her at her worst. If you play your cards right, she'll be shunned. Her reputation will be ruined. You can destroy this Habsburg ass bitch and keep your family safe. Happy hunting. And another comment from Three Heathens Mum who says not the arsehole. Good lord, that poor girl has some issues. You and your husband haven't seen or heard from her in years. She has a new boyfriend to show off per her mother. But the first thing she does is reach out to your husband via text, sharing essentially just how off she is and ask to meet privately with just him. Nope. I can understand why your husband wants to touch base with his parents first, but please make sure he agrees absolutely no face-to-face meeting with Tina at all. Not even in a public place. That woman who he sees only as a sister is not right. People like this who are so delusional can be dangerous to themselves but also others. Once he discusses with his parents and shows them the messages he received from her, perhaps his mother can get the information to whomever the therapist is, if there is one. But yet, Tina needs to be uninvited by request from your husband. So OP does update the post and says, this will probably be my last update since my husband and I decided that we need to be completely removed from sister-in-law's drama/trauma so we can focus on having a healthy pregnancy and family life. I have an appointment with a perinatologist, a high-risk prenatal doc tomorrow morning that was scheduled weeks ago to check on the baby. Thank you to those who were concerned about me and the baby. So I don't even know where to start. So I apologize if this update seems all over the place. I also have to point out that the person who went through my comment history, I switched the numbers, genders, and event details so I wasn't as easily identified in real life. I have a professional license, so if someone recognized me and thought I was being unethical due to the nature of the post, I've avoided certain verbiage because of my job, I could be brought in for a review, which I would much like to avoid, so I'm sorry I can't be 100% truthful with all the details. I try my best to keep the most important information as factual as possible. My husband ran home because Tina blew up his phone, texting and calling. Now my husband always texts or calls me on his lunch break to check on me, even before the pregnancy. So I knew something was wrong when he didn't. Since he left Tina on red, she started calling and sending a slew of unwarranted and degrading texts about me and our children. So basically Tina being Tina. He didn't run it by me, but he sent her a long paragraph which he showed me when he got home, basically telling her off and told her that he would rather never speak to her again than listen to her talk badly about our family. He told her she would never be invited to any of our family functions and that she needed to check herself back into the hospital if she thought their sibling relationship was ever closer than it actually was. He closed it by saying that he would let family know the reason she was uninvited and that he hoped she's either seeing a therapist or would find one immediately. I'm not surprised at his response because the thing she said pushed him to that breaking point. I think the worst thing she said was that my 2 miscarriages years ago, which would have been our first child together, was caused because we don't actually belong together and that my body couldn't even carry any of my children to term. 32 and 33 weeks deliveries. I expected her to bring something up like this, but I could tell it really hurt him, and that's why he didn't hold back from her. He then blocked her and told me he's changing our phone numbers. He called his parents and the oldest/bio sister, whom he is close with, and explained to them why she's never allowed to visit our home. He shared all of their text exchanges and they were mortified. Asked them not to share our address and when we changed to new numbers. They assured us that none of them shared this information with her because she actually asked for his work schedule and mentioned driving up a day early to surprise him. My father-in-law had the most to say, and I get it. it's his baby girl, and he didn't share much info beforehand with anyone besides his wife. He said he always knew she had a little crush on him, but after her outburst at our housewarming years ago, they had a conversation about her behavior. She told him that she's been keeping a diary about him since she was a teenager. She explained it was to process her emotions and to challenge negative thoughts. All I heard was that she wrote about him for years, so there's several journals in their home, probably enforcing her beliefs. Apparently she only stayed away from my husband because my father-in-law kept her in check and was able to get her hospitalized several times for being a threat to herself. I don't know if all her issues stem from her unrequited love for him. Typing that just made me nauseous, but I hope she gets the help she desperately needs. He asked that they speak with her about his last text, that we don't want to know the outcome. He told us they would deal with her and apologize for thinking she resolved her issues. My in-laws are saints, and I thank them for believing us and keeping her away for all these years. Luckily, she's currently living with them due to her issues, so they're going to speak to her tomorrow morning. The bio sister-in-law called me when she got off the phone with the in-laws. She told me that she was really sorry because she's the one who hooked the new boyfriend and Tina up and suggested that she show him off at the baby shower, but admitted that they had only been dating for like 2 weeks. She said she sent the text Tina sent to my husband to her boyfriend because that's one of her best guy friends and she wanted to protect him. So I'm pretty sure they're probably not a thing anymore. I'm kind of nervous how Tina will deal with 2 rejections so close together. The 2 sisters aren't that close, and she audibly disgusted to find out that her sister has been pining for their brother for all these years. She has a theory though. She thinks it all started with the older bio brother, Sean, because when Tina was little, she would follow Sean around all the time. He's older, so he went off to college abroad. Tina was about 10, and then he permanently moved to Europe. It seems like the crush transferred to my husband when Sean left. Sean hasn't been back to the States since he graduated high school, and no one really has contact with him, so she said she can't call and ask him about it. I have to admit, I'm kind of curious and would have been interested in hearing what Sean had to say, but I'll rest assured knowing our involvement in the whole thing is over. Someone pointed out that Tina is potentially dangerous and can hurt me or our children, and this really scared me. My husband is going to upgrade our alarm system and purchase more cameras. I don't work summers and will most likely be out on bed rest by the time I have to go back to work. So he wanted to ensure the kids and I were safe when he's away from the house. I forgot to mention we live about 5 hours away, so she'd really have to go out of her way to show up here if she somehow found out where we live. So that's it basically. This will most likely be my only update. I also want to point out that those that think my husband was intimate with her at some point to cause her erratic behavior. If that were the case, she would have loved to throw that in my face over and over. Plus, a guilty man would have tried to silence her a long time ago to keep me from finding out. I didn't have to trust him, but I do. Thanks again for all the helpful input. I'm feeling a little more at ease and can't wait to see our closest friends and family at our shower. And a lot of the comments below this one was asking about the older brother Sean and when he went off to Europe, but never returned and has little contact with his family anymore, and they're just questioning why. Gotta be honest, it didn't really pop into my head till I read those comments, but now they mention it, I'm like, hold up a minute. Did that spark your interest too? I do wonder. But as always, now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time is always absolutely amazing, and I can never ever thank you enough for it. Don't forget, at the very end of the video, there'll be a couple of playlists there that you can click on. They will automatically scroll through all the videos for you. So whatever you're up to, if you're doing a little bit of crochet, you've just gone for a little cheeky walk. Maybe you're doing some cooking, some cleaning, something boring, and you're just listening to pass the time. It will automatically scroll through those videos for you. So get involved if you choose to do so. Thank you so much, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.